Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So this one is on beliefs that sabotage, and it comes directly from a coaching call this week. So there's a bunch of experiences and things that happen in your childhood that shape who you are to this day. Some of them are resourceful, some of them not so resourceful. So with this particular client, there was some common themes that were coming up, and especially around being called stupid. And that held her back in many, many areas of her life. And then there was some food coding that also was happening. So, what we did is we sat down and listed out every single limiting belief, experience, everything that was holding her back. And this list was actually quite long, but I'm going to touch on a couple that might be relevant to you. So, it was the lack of communication throughout her family. So her parents didn't model effective communication. So when it came to her marriage, unfortunately, she didn't have that skill set, nor did she spend time researching. And obviously, this is prior to me stepping into her life and her looking at the self-development world. But prior to that, having a marriage that broke down because of the fact that it wasn't modeled to her to have resourceful conversations. Her mother never ever spoke up. Her dad just railroaded everything, and dinners were quite silent in her household. So there was no communication. It wasn't modeled effectively to her. So that's one of those limiting beliefs and those limiting situations. One of her teachers from school called her stupid. So that played a huge pact down on the rest of her life, and going out and trialing different things or believing whether or not she could go out on business on her own. It was lots of things that being told that she was stupid as a primary school child really held her back in the rest of her adult world. Then her mum didn't model how to look after her health, and that for her, she picked up some very unresourceful behaviors from the way that her mother had her relationship with food. And I can tell you that there's a huge clue between how your mum acted around food and behaved around food versus how you do to this day, unless you spent the time unpacking it. Then there was scarcity around money. So in that family, everything was counted for. So when it came to dinner, there was no beautiful steaks, there was no healthy food because healthy food cost too much. Even scarcity on school trips and things like that, they weren't an option. So that led my client to believe that she wasn't worthy because money was scarce in her family. Her father always taught her to be continually working. So this client of mine actually burnt herself out because it was this coding that you always need to be working. There was this big fear around money, and that came particularly from her mother because it was generational scarcity. And from generational scarcity, it was just passed down and passed down. So these are some of the examples. And then when we really dug deep into the food, so we looked at the relationships, we looked at career, then we also looked at food particularly, and scarcity around food and eat everything on your plate causes my client to go from being good and eating healthy to binging because she doesn't know when the food's going to run out. So things like that, or the whole eat everything on your plate. So as a child, you're not regulated or learnt how to eat enough food for health, as opposed to I just need to shovel this down and eat everything on my plate. So those are the kind of coding that had showed up in her life. And another one was a biscuit will make you feel good. So whenever my client runs into troubles with life, she goes to food because her mum taught her that biscuits make you feel good. So there's all these coding, and there was much, much more, but I'm not going to go into it tonight. You get the idea to look at all areas of your life. Money is a good one, food, relationships, communication, your schooling, all these unresourceful thoughts and beliefs have come from somewhere, and that somewhere is generally your childhood. So I want you to look at everything, put it all down on a page. And now comes a bit of a woo-woo part, and that's the Gemini in me. I can be very, very practical in the way that I coach clients and give them tools and strategies, and then there's some woo-woo side of it. And the woo-woo side is we visualized a suitcase, and in that suitcase, we put each of those limiting beliefs. So we first went to dad, okay? So dad was work hard with money, not communicating, you're stupid, all those limiting beliefs that dad gave her, they went into dad's suitcase, and they looked like different things. They looked like stones, and then they looked like black holes, and then they looked like bombs. So you visualized each of these limiting beliefs as something. They all went into the suitcase. And then I got her to close her eyes and take the suitcase to her dad. She took the suitcase to her dad and said, "Thank you, Dad. These no longer serve me. You can have them back now." And what she was doing was this was signifying her giving back these limiting behaviors to her dad. They're not hers anymore. She doesn't own them. And one by one, we went to the teacher and we put the stupid in the suitcase and we carried the stupid up to the teacher's desk. We visualized he was in the staff room. She could even still see his face. And this was like 30 years ago. So she went up to him and she dumped that suitcase on that teacher's desk. She didn't need those anymore. "Thank you, sir. These don't serve me anymore. They belong to you. You can have your limiting beliefs." And then we did the same thing with Mum. We packed up all those limiting beliefs around food. We packed up, again, there's 3 people in her life, significant people, that called her stupid. That's why it was coding that had run and run and run. We plonked those into the suitcase. We plonked in the lack of communication, everything about food, everything about scarcity and money. We put that in a suitcase for Mum. And then we took that off to Mum. She visualized Mum. Mum was sitting down and she just dumped the suitcase on Mum's lap. And sometimes these visualizations really get into the unconscious mind, because the unconscious mind loves images. And if we can dig deep from an unconscious level, then we're able to move forward. So running through this meditation visualization may seem woo-woo to some people, but actually it works because it looks at the unconscious brain and uses imagery so that now she can let go, release, forgive, take the lessons learned, and thank these people, but say, hey, your belief system, what worked for you and what worked in your generation and your generation before that, no longer worked for me. Thank you. You can have them back now. So I want you to do something very similar. Take out your journal, write down every single limiting belief, experience, all those things that happened to you. And then you're going to visualize your suitcase, put them in one by one, read them out loud. Then you're going to take that off to whichever particular person. So it could be ex-boyfriends, it could be the bully, it could be the guy that called you names down by the park and thought that because you're a young girl that he could woof whistle at you. Could be your mum. There's definitely some mum stuff there for everyone. #mum stuff. Definitely dad stuff. Could be your brother. Could be your sister. Anything, anybody, everybody. Just detox the lot. And what is really good from doing an activity like this, so we're going to do the visualization, write it all down, put it in its separate suitcases for the separate person, take it to them, dump it in their lap, or however you want to give it to them. You might have to throw it in the ocean if dad's no longer here. And then to back this up with a decluttering exercise, because what we've done is we've cleaned out the wound. We've cleaned out the unconscious wound of all the stuff that's festering away, fester, and then we've dressed it nice and cleanly. And it's kind of decluttered a lot of that unconscious beliefs. So then go to somewhere in your house that you can think of that needs a little bit of decluttering. You're going to declutter that space. For her, it was her office desk. So she decluttered her office desk. And that just shifts the energy. I know I'm a bit woo-woo. Remember, I'm Gemini, practical, woo-woo. And by doing shifting energy, you'll move this out of your body. So I hope these little tips and tricks are helping. I know Steph's watching, which is really awesome to see. Please like, comment and share. And then if you would like to work with me further, I've got the 7 steps to quit binge eating forever. It's an online course that you can do at your own pace with 50 different videos, worksheets, things like this, but going in a little bit more depth so that you can break free from whatever is holding you back. So I talk a lot about binge eating and eating behaviors, but it can apply to other areas of your life as well. So please jump on my website, Transformations by Kim, and you'll find all the details there. You'll also find a copy of my book, Empowered Eating, Binge Free Forever, and also a little bit about how you could work with me. If you're liking these videos and want me to cover another particular topic that's relevant to you, please put a comment in the box or just private message me, because I'd love to provide a video for you that's going to help you, because that's my purpose on this earth, is to show up and serve and help people so that they can break free from unresourceful behavior, particularly binge eating, so that they can go on and be the person they're meant to be. We all deserve success in our lives. And if we've got things that are holding us back, we need to do the work. We've got to unpack it. We've got to work through it so that you can be free, so that you can be that human that you were meant to be. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye.